This is a battle in the use it and lose it tournament between Iraklis and KURWA. The reason why I'm laughing is because Iraklis has saved a lot of his good factions for later in the tournament. He's used a lot of shit factions and he's used them well. And now he's able to use Suebi here against Massilia in the semi-finals. And I don't think he's used a single faction of the Rome or Verni Tylis Boii variety. I think he has the most powerful factions available. So now he's up 2-0 versus KURWA in the semi-finals of the Use It Lose It tournament. And he picks Suebi, a good choice. Massilia is being picked for KURWA. Let's go over KURWA's army first, and I'll tell you why I laughed at Iraklis' army afterwards. We have 2 Levy Freemen. I spoke too soon. Then we have Hoplites, just standard Hoplites. Let's see, 3 Hoplites there, Massilian Hoplites, Celtic Warriors, Thorax Swords, interesting, Hoplites, Thorax Swords, Hippeus, Massilian Cav. And now, but for Suebi, this is peculiar. Now, first of all, let's just have a look at the general. He is, of course, Ariovistus, a Swordmaster, Ariovistus general. So we have a Swordmaster. Then we have 4 Berserkers. When was the last time you saw 4 Berserkers in a competitive multiplayer game? Then we have. I mean, this is classic Iraklis. He's bringing 3 club levy, like the shittiest low tier melee infantry you can find. I think I know what his strategy is though, but let's just see. Then he has Wodenas spears. For Wodenas, it makes sense to bring the Wodenas. They are not great for the price. Certainly not comparable to any Hoplites in terms of killing power. But for the price, they are sort of sub-elite in price, high mid-tier. And it makes sense under these rules to bring some Wodenas spears. Riders of the Hunt. I'm not going to comment further on that name. Yeah, very peculiar Suebi army. He has some longbow hunters here as well. Germanic slingers on the flanks. See how it works. We've gone over Massilia, and here we go. This Massilian army might be in deep shit here, because the Massilian Cav will get slaughtered by the combination of Wodenas and Riders of the Hunt. Riders of the Hunt being a very peculiar choice. Most people with Suebi, you're going to max out on the Swordmasters, you're going to max out on the Germanic Scout Riders. There are going to be some Bloodsword in there, but 4 Berserkers and 4 Wodenas with 1 Swordmaster is very peculiar. Very peculiar indeed. The thing about Club Levy is that they can be used to good effect against units like Levy Freeman. They will defeat all meat shield level infantry units in the game. But the formation that Iraklis has here isn't a formation that is very... It's not an Ariovistus formation with all of the units in a blob in the center. So it's a bit more flexible than that. Looks like the Cav is moving up for... they want to get in a frontal YOLO. So the front line of Suebi, Club Levy. Behind those we have Berserkers and Swordmasters. Massilia has been able to occupy the central hill here. It's almost as if Iraklis and his Suebi wants Massilia there for some reason, because I think the hill was conceded a bit too easily. No contest. Like no Ariovistus, no just trying to charge in at Massilia. No, Massilia actually has a very strong defensive position now. Taking some longbow hunter fire, but still only on Levy Freeman. The longbow hunters 40 missile damage, only 125 range, but fairly cheap, a low amount of shots per minute. Now the club levy moves out, the Massilian cav comes in, and the club levy pulls away. And, oh, turn around, they almost could have gotten another charge there. So the club levy pulls back. No point in engaging prematurely. Suebi has the skirmish advantage, so Suebi can keep pouring the fire into Massilia here. It's not going to be super effective, but it's going to do some damage. Club levy, spear levy, throwing the precursors into the blob. Another precursor volley takes out a lot of Massilian cav. Here come the club levy once again, and basically just shit tier units going at it here. And look at the Massilian cav getting hammered by the Wodenas. So now the front line is engaged, and wow, this is interesting. The front line is engaged. Iraklis is waiting for his Aryavistus to hit, and a lot of the Massilian units are engaged. So this could be a very brutal, very devastating charge once the charge bonus is there, and the charge bonus is there. The berserkers are being sent in. They have a 71 charge bonus. Down the line, berserkers, swordmasters being sent in with massive charge bonuses. Basically, the entire Massilian front line has been engaged. Well, there are some units in support here, but the entire front line is engaged. The berserkers are getting kills. They are going berserk very quickly. And as long as they keep killing, they are going to be unbreakable here. So the Massilian Hoplites attacked in the rear, losing decisively, and they are wavering. Massilian Hoplites, 65 morale, they are wavering, and now they are routing because of fear, attacked in the rear and losing decisively. So this is almost like a Suebi fear build. And you can see how many units are breaking and running here. This is in no small part due to the fear effect and to losing decisively. So the Massilian army just disappears under the onslaught of berserkers. And there was, yeah, the swordmasters are also getting some kills in. Now activating pride, and it's good night, sweet prince, for the Massilian army. There is nothing Massilia can do at this point. It's just been a wholesale slaughter on the front lines there. Massilian cav about to get charged by riders, but nicely done getting the Epeius into the flanks. It's going to do a lot of damage to the riders of the hunt.
We're taking trophies. Got them down.
So now the berserkers are not berserk anymore. They are exhausted, getting hit by a few units of Massilian cav, but nothing worrying. Riders of the Hunt will lose the fight. The club levy units are about to break now, but they've held for quite some time. The berserkers just keep killing, keep berserking. And these remaining cav units are getting hammered by precursors. Now they're just getting killed straight up in melee. 150 kills for the berserkers. Now they're getting hit by cav. So losing a few men there. The Epeius Lancers only winning slightly against the Riders of the Hunt. Ooh. Even. And now the Riders of the Hunt, they could go and kill the Massilian general. But it looks like they don't want to do that. And they don't really need to do that, because at this point all these Massilian units came back, but it's too late. The battle is lost anyway. The berserkers go berserk again. It would be awesome if they were able to just single-handedly defeat all of these units here. Yeah, due to army losses, they are going to be able to do just that. And look at everything that Iraklis has left here on the field. It's quite substantial. So a victory there for Iraklis. The Berserkers do well, the Swordmasters do well. Everything worked really well, and it was a nice, methodical Suebi army. This incredibly hard to use this army. I assume I'm always trying to put myself in the shoes of the players and think, okay, how would I use this army? And Iraklis' army, tying down the units on the front lines and then sending in the Berserkers, it's very effective, but it's very it requires good timing, and of course that timing was on point in this battle. So Massilia brought fewer Massilian hoplites than would be expected. The Bodenas did a decent job, but this Massilian army was a bit unexpected against Suebi, bringing the hoplites instead of all of the Massilian hoplites. Still, I think Suebi is a stronger pick than Massilia. On even with these rules, even with the Massilian hoplites, it could be argued. I mean, it all depends on the army composition and the player you're facing. But with Massilia has to get a lot of use out of their cavalry, and that cavalry only being medium or the very vulnerable Hippeus, Suebi can very easily counter that. So Iraklis defeats KURWA 3-0 in this series and advances to the finals of the Use It and Lose It tournament, which I'm sure is going to be an epic and great finals. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not partial towards any of the players. The players that play the best are going to be the players that are in the finals, the players that make the best faction choices. But what Iraklis has played very well, and he has saved his best factions for last. So he's been able to play well both on the battlefield and also in the long-term strategic view of the tournament, which is quite cool, I have to say. Strength and honor.